I'm back again with Ed Sullivan, economist that works with us at the Concrete Reinforcing Steel Institute. Ed, let's talk about the transportation bill
Okay.
and government. Okay, I, when you look at the IIJA, which is expiring in September, there's really no traction to get this thing finalized. The surface transportation bill also is stagnant. Very unlikely that they will have a resolution on this. What I was finding interesting was that baked into the transportation bill, you have these EV fees that are trying to generate more funds for roads and things like that for electric vehicles. You've got also an extension of fuel taxes, which is only going to exacerbate gas prices, of course. And then, in addition, we still would need to transfer about $150 billion from the general fund into this program to keep it solvent. So that's the framework of where we're living when it comes to infrastructure right now. What's your take on that?
I think there's two issues. So number one is you got to fix the highway trust fund. And that's exactly what you mentioned. Look, we have to take into consideration electric vehicles. They're not getting charged on the gas tax, so there has to be some fair means to charge them.
That's right.
So that's one. Two, the federal gas tax, I believe it was last put in place in 1991. That's how long it's been since we've adjusted. And during that time, inflation has increased dramatically. Think about 1991. The Congress put that number on a gas tax. Was it 31 cents? 31 cents. Something. Put that number. That was enough to maintain and maybe expand our highway system in 1991. But costs have increased dramatically. So clearly, the gas tax is deficient. As a result, you rely more and more on the general fund. And that's an issue because right now, we are running $2 trillion debt every year. That's adding up significantly. The total debt in the U.S. is contributing roughly 40 basis points on your mortgage.
Wow.
Because they compete with private funds for the money. The bigger you get that. And there's actually a group in Congress. It's called the Freedom Caucus, which is extremely upset with the growth in debt in government finances. So that's the context in which you're going to put this new bill in. Okay. So what I see is a few things. They agreed to extend the September 30th expiration to early December. Early December, right after Thanksgiving, right before the Christmas recess, and you have a change in the House. And that means you've got to have a consensus by the Speaker to send it to Ways and Means, and then they got to vote before the House, and then it has to go before the Senate, and the Senate hasn't even begun it yet.
This sounds like the Mission Impossible movie.
That's not going to happen by December. So it's likely that what will happen in December is they'll do a second continuing resolution. They'll likely be smart enough to have it long enough that they can get all the ducks in a row and have it again. In my mind, that doesn't happen for a full year. So it'll be September 2027 that you see a new bill come forward.
Okay.
In the meantime, what that means, Lou, is the continuing resolution is in effect for a full year. You don't have any long-term planning. If I'm a DOT, I don't engage in a multi-year big project that's going to use a lot of rebar. I'm going to do asphalt repaving. So that's the kind of things that are going to disrupt. In addition, there's some funding that doesn't get renewed under a continuing resolution. Unobligated funds. That's about $15 billion worth out of a $278 billion program. Some people say, hey, look, don't worry about that, Ed, because there's plenty of money that hasn't been spent yet, and they're in the coffers, ready to go. And that's good, but it's going to take time to get to all that, and they won't want to do it all, use it all up in 1 year. And so what you're going to see likely is a reduction in actual spending activity, because that certain part of unobligated funds goes away. It's called Division J. That affects bridges. So it's conceivable that as you look forward during this continuing resolution, September to September 27, you could see not only a reduction in the amount of funds, but a change in the composition of the spending of it to the detriment of cement, concrete, and rebar.
Okay. You know, in 2021, the $100 billion that the IIJA kind of funded today is not quite worth $100 billion. So I think you estimated it's something more or less about $51 billion today, which is a pretty big chunk due to inflation, right? But how can the highway cost inflation kind of run double than the consumer price index, which is around 3.4%?
Yeah.
So how is it that construction, let's say, dollars degrade faster than anything else?
If you look at, you're comparing against, let's say, a CPI.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you got food, you got a lot of services. There's a lot of services in there. When you look at a highway, in a deflator, there's real goods, steel. You got cement. You got oil and asphalt, real goods. 2, it's not much services. 2, you have a shortage of construction workers.
For sure.
Everyone talks about how difficult it is to get this or that to do basic. And so that's the second part. Third, it seems to me that there's a higher energy, oil exposure in the highway cost inflators. Asphalt is obviously one of them.
Sure.
So when you build that all together, the labor shortages, the types of goods that you're measuring, and the oil exposure, you get significantly higher inflation rate. During COVID, I want to say that it was up, in excess of 15%. So, you know what? Yeah.
Interesting. So if we were to duplicate the IIJA now, how much money would we need, really?
It would be, I think, if you look at the IIJA, it was $1.2 trillion. It would be upwards of $2 trillion.
Wow. And yet they're talking about a $580 billion program.
Well, now keep in mind, IIJA spanned a whole bunch of different programs. Okay, so when you look at the surface, it was $580 billion. I've done some look into what this means going beyond the continuing resolution. And it seems to me this is going to be passed off to the 121st Congress, next Congress. So now, elections matter. The Democrats take the House, a certain bill gets pushed forward. The Republicans keep the House, a different program gets pushed forward. And the Senate, in my mind, I see it as kind of compromising a little bit. So we did some surveying and potential of who wins the House, what have you. And I weight the two, and I come up with a bill. The bill estimate is from $580 billion, which was IIJA, which was written in 2021 dollars, and the new one at $595. That's an increase, but in real terms, it's a significant decline.
Yeah.
It will buy less.
It buys less.
The second thing that we looked at in terms of this is, well, what would a Republican bill and a Democrat bill kind of pan out in terms of the composition? In my mind, and what I've reviewed is it seems that highway, bridges do better under the Republican bill as terms of percentage of the overall bill, whereas passenger rail, transit rail, and freight rail, they seem to do better under the Democrat bill. The intensities matter for us. How intensive do you use rebar per dollar spending for each one of these? You use them more in terms of bridges and highways than you do in rail. And so this also has an impact in terms of how it's going to impact your members in terms of the view. So right now we have an idea that, yeah, you're going to get a nominal increase in the bill. It'll be a 5-year bill. But in terms of real dollars, it'll be less. In terms of intensities, it could be less depending upon who wins this upcoming election.
I mean, I think ASCE, the Association of Construction Engineers, had put the investment needed to reach good highway conditions near $5 trillion by 2030. Obviously, way out of anything reasonable that this Congress or the government will do at the moment. Why are they anchoring this so low? I mean, yes, it's a modest increase. Totally get that, but you know, do the math. It's less dollars in real terms.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Is this bill? Is it more geared toward retrofit and repair of bridges and roads, or is it really for new construction? Because if it's for retrofit and repair, I sort of can get it, that they're thinking, okay, well, we can't get a big big pile of money, but we'll get a smaller pile and we'll kind of patch up, for lack of a better description. Is that what it's about?
Well, if that's what it's about, we have problems.
I would think,
because population continues to grow every year. It's growing at a slower rate.
Yeah.
But you're still going to go, and when you're looking at a long-term horizon, you're going to add tens of millions of people, tens of millions of drivers. You think congestion's bad right now? Did you just come down to Chicago? You know, it's crazy. It'll get worse. And
please no.
And population is moving among regions. We saw south and west, and the population centers emerge, and new infrastructure has to be built for them. So it's got to be both. It's got to be the maintenance, and it's got to be the expansion, to the extent that the civil engineers say, hey, you know, you got a C grade, I think it's either a C grade or a D grade for highways, to bring it up. All you're doing is reflecting the deferred maintenance that you should have been doing before, back in 1991, increasing the gas tax.
Right.
So you don't have the issue, but you do. And that's where, this whole debate isn't going to be just a matter of how you or where you spend or how big the bill is, but how do you fund the highway trust fund? How do you repair it because it's broken?
I mean, the reason I asked about the repairs and maintenance is because it seems like some DOTs are actually prioritizing maintenance over new construction. And I think that's, I mean, if they're seeing the dollar figures that are thrown around right now, I mean, you would almost have to, because you can't do much with that amount of money. I mean, does the reauthorization the reauthorization fight that's happening at Congress, right? That everyone's trying to do it, but no one really has the wherewithal to do it. Do you think that really impacts the Department of Transportation at the state level? significantly, or do you think that they're kind of used to this?
Well, they kind of are, but you know what? Look, it's every 5 years you come up for renewal and this stuff. And look, we saw that with ERA. We saw that with boy, I go back. I think it was TEA 21, and what was before that. But look, it always happens. You need that certainty again. And they are uncertain. They're not going to take on a multi-year major project. Sure. So what do? You do the maintenance. And
you're just buying
again,
time. Just stalling.
And the intensity for rebar and for cement and concrete is less.
So, back to 1991, okay, a long time ago for both of us. What was so special then that there was political will to impose a gas tax of 31 cents or whatever it was? Whereas now, I get now, of course, with the oil prices where they are, adding that would be just, really just sink the ship, I would say. But up till February, there was, over several administrations, I think there was sufficient political clout to do that, yet they didn't do it. Is it really much more of a political decision than I think it is?
No, I think it's a political decision.
It's a pure political decision.
You know what? I think sometimes we react to crises.
For sure.
I think we're in a crisis now. Okay. And if you're going to run for re-election, you're the guy who increased my gas tax, you're not going to be in the next, you're not going to win the election, Lou. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what, we can get into the political philosophies. I think, sometimes the will and sometimes what is best gets forgotten. Sometimes in the context of what's the best for the country.
Right. Okay. So I want to wrap up here, and talking about government spending and government activities. We at CRSI, I was on Capitol Hill back in May with our annual fly-in to the Transportation Committee Coalition, and it seemed to me that there was a lot of talk about, we hope that it gets done, we hope the reauthorization gets done, but you could tell behind the scenes, no one really believed that there was absolute any activity on this, and that was very disappointing for me, representing our industry, to hear. But I think it opened up a new avenue for us to kind of help educate and inform our own members and listeners. We started tracking government affairs activities. We created a new dashboard that you can track different bills that are happening, what the timeline of the bills, who are the allies and who are the foes at Washington for us. And I think that's going to help our industry kind of track better what's going on, because when you have more information and more of a single source of information, you're able to at least make some informed decisions. And I look forward to discussing a little bit more about that. The public dollars, though, are kind of one floor under the demand scenario. If you don't have enough public dollars, obviously that's going to stop what you can spend. But the private sector is more dynamic and more reflexive to things, and data centers kind of feed into that as this new thing that comes out. And I think there's a misconception. People think of data centers as only AI, but data centers are actually very much largely cloud storage.
Sure.
As more time goes on in the computer age, the more data that we store. And I don't know about you, but I don't delete my emails, so I don't get rid of data. Data never gets deleted in my house. Okay, so but that just means that overall, eventually, you need more and more storage of data, and now you have AI into that. So I'm looking forward to our next discussion about AI and the impact of data centers. Thanks a lot for coming in today, Ed.
Thank you.
Always good to talk to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.